What's up, YouTube? It's your boy, Bam Bam, and we are live today. This is your Dark Road Runner. I know it is not dark right now, but I'm going to go ahead and get kind of plugged in here. We have a lot to go over today. Always lots of wires and stuff, you know. Droids just came out with a new charger, so I got a new gadget to get. But I guess we'll hold off here for a minute or so. Wait for some people to get here. It's at 5%, but still going on. So, all right, cool. We have a lot to talk about today. And you're gonna have to bear with me, because last night was like a going away party kind of deal, and yeah, there's a reason I don't drink much these days, and I know I'm getting grizzly. I'll get cleaned up later. Okay, so we got this phone booting up, about a minute and a half in. All right, I want to go ahead and give you guys all of my strategies for ride sharing in New Orleans, what I do to make money, and exactly, specifically, what I do to make money here in New Orleans. Now, there's and the reason why I'm giving this to you, y'all can have this. I announced that I'm going back to Chicago for the slow season. So, you know, and there's many reasons. Number one, there's not much going on in New Orleans. It gets stupid humid hot. I mean, this thing reads 100 degrees right now. I'm not lying. I am not lying. So, not only that, but you know, my family is very important to me, and you know, my grandma's 91. She's not doing well. So I will. The way I look at it is, I actually have an opportunity. She's still alive. She's here still. So, oh, hello, welcome. We got somebody watching. Yeah, but I announced that I'm going back for the slow season. I've got 7 nieces and nephews I see 2 weeks out of the year, not at a time. One of them I haven't even met yet. So there's a lot to go over today. I'm basically giving you everything. Everything I do to make money in New Orleans. And, you know, by the time I get back, I mean, there's more strategies throughout the year, and it's ever changing. You got to adapt. So the very first thing is, you have to make a goal, okay? And it gets hard because you want to feel like you're being productive, right? But there isn't a lot of money to be made this time of year, especially during the week. It gets painful. Usually a full tank of gas for me is, I mean, during the busy season, 350, 400. You know, it's just, this is the most unpredictable gig I've ever had. You're right. And there aren't a lot of YouTube channels out there that are really helping drivers. So I'm gonna do this no matter what. Y'all can hate on me. The money's always going to be there. People are always going to take Uber and Lyft. And whoever that was, he just came to say, don't do that. People will encroach your money and then you leave. Okay. But don't hate on me for wanting to help people. So, here goes. And we got somebody else. Welcome. So first thing is, you got to make a goal, right? And complete it. Whether it's this tank of gas, or you want to do a certain amount of miles, or you want to go till a certain time, That actually worked for me for a while. I did 8 till 4 in the morning, hence Dark Road Runner. You know, I get the crazies, and I throw them on the internet. I got a dash cam, and my number one rule in my car is do not act a fool in my car, and you will not end up on the World Wide Web. There's just certain things you can't do these days. If I have to keep my behavior in check, so do you. I could yell slurs out the window, next thing you know, I'm the next viral idiot. There's just certain things you can't do these days. And I do have a video coming for you guys. I do, of this drunk fuck. I've had him before, but this time he was just over the top, and I actually caught it on film. It needs captions, but something's going on with my editing app. So I got a suggestion for another one. So first thing is you got to make a goal and complete it. Now, if you say, you know, you want to do a half a tank of gas, it gets unmotivating during the summer. And usually a full tank of gas for me is like $400, you know, but I have a very fuel efficient car. So it's going to get unmotivating. Another thing that you can do, and I'm really big on this one, I have another phone here. I wish I said I'd get another mount. I know I said that in a different video, but basically, as I have Uber and Lyft on I just do this stuff from my phone. What you can do is, I have the Uber and Lyft apps, the rider apps on this phone, and it'll tell you where all the cars are, and you just get away from the other cars. If I had another mount, it would be right here, you know. I know that. But it only tells you the cars that are available. It doesn't tell you the cars that are on rides. So cars disappear because they accept rides, and then you know, they reappear when they're done. Gotta turn on hotspot. Boom, son, get some. Oh yeah. So yeah, it tells you where all the cars are. If an area is oversaturated, it really helps. And as I'm driving, it actually updates. You know, you know, I move the pin and it shows me where the cars are. And I just get away from the other cars. And a lot of times that's how I make money. It's like I'll go to an area. I did that. I said in another video. Lakeview. You know, one night I looked on the Rider app, and there were no cars around Lakeview. So I hung out around like Parlay's area, and I knew that there were people there. There were going to be people needing rides. So I basically, they were all short trips, and then I kept going back to the bar. Just kept going right back. Let's see here. Yes, I know I'm live. So yeah, I just wanted to show you guys. This. All right. Another thing is like, dude, work together. You know, I really get this sense of like that there's so much like, I get it. New Orleans is a competitive city, and I'm very competitive in nature. I'm very, very competitive. So, you know, I get so much like freaking animosity from people that they don't want to see others succeed, you know, and you know, I'm not that way. You either help people or you hurt people in life, and you know, maybe not to the magnitude that we're talking. You know, you're not physically hurting somebody, but don't be a hater. Don't be a hater. Help people out, you know. So yeah, all right. Well, look at where all the cars are. Get away from the cars. If you find an area that is not saturated, hang out a little bit. You know, go back to these bars. I also do that in the Bywater. When the French Quarter gets oversaturated, I jump over to Marigny, Bywater, St. Rock area, and it's mostly locals in that area. It's short trips, but it's more of them, um, except for Bacchanal. So Bacchanal is a little unpredictable. You could be going to Lakeview, you could be going to, you know, West Bank if someone is visiting and they're going to one of those hotels. Bacchanal is a little different. But the rest of the bars in the Bywater, Marigny area, sometimes when the French Quarter downtown is a little oversaturated, I'll go there. I'll just jump over there. Um, so that's another good strategy right there. Um, the French Quarter, when I first started doing this, a lot of drivers told me that they don't pick up on bourbon. And probably about 8 months, 9 months in to doing this, I see why. You get people to jump on the back of your car. Some people are so drunk they don't even care to open. They don't even care to check if you're a driver. It's like, dude, you don't look like an Amy. Like, trying to open my car doors. Like, you know. But nowadays, especially on a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and some Sundays when there's a Monday holiday or or football games or basketball, any sports, I'm not crossing bourbon. I don't do it. I'm not crossing bourbon. So I call the rider and I ask them, basically details. If you can get to Royal or Dauphine, I'll get you. It's one block. It's not going to hurt you. But you can't drive down Bourbon at night. I did have a situation the other day where I called the girl and she's like, oh yeah, it's probably around St. Louis and Royal. And I asked the girl to walk. I said, hey, will you, the direction of the one way, go the opposite way, one block. She goes one block down Bourbon. I wound up canceling this ride because if you go one block down Bourbon, I have to go 6, maybe 8 blocks around just to go get you. So I wound up canceling this ride. People are so drunk on bourbon, drinking all that crap liquor, and it's just, if you can get one block off to Royal or Dauphine, I'll pick up from Bourbon. But it's so unpredictable. If I get another one of these bachelor parties, woo, shows your tits, woo, and I'm like, oh my God, y'all are too much. When I pick people up in Bourbon, very unpredictable. I like driving down Frenchman. You can actually drive down Frenchman, and when I pick people up, they're usually happy. They're usually happy, especially because of, it's all live music. They're dancing, absorbing the vibes and seeing like the real color of what New Orleans has to offer. So yeah, what I do on Frenchman is it's kind of like figure eights, and I notice that other drivers do this too, and this is something that a lot of you may know, may not know. So what I'll do is I'll go up Esplanade, I'll make that right on Frenchman, I'll go down Frenchman. Usually I'll get a ride. Usually I will. Welcome. So I'll go up. If I don't get a ride, say for example on a Saturday night, the traffic on Frenchman, it moves slower. So if I actually go through Frenchman, and I don't get a ride, I'll do like what the cabs do. They'll make that left on Royal, and then they'll go to right by our bar. They'll make that left on Charters. Go up. It gives you a chance to maybe get a ping to DBA Spotted Cat right there where you have the right of way. Still, if I don't have a ride by then, I continue to Elysian and I make like a figure eight. I'll make that right on Elysian, go back up Esplanade, go right back down Frenchman, because when I pick people up, they're usually happy, in comparison to Bourbon. That's for damn sure. So I really like driving down Frenchman. I will not cross Bourbon on a Friday or Saturday night. No way. Not doing it. I'm not waiting 15 minutes in that line where nobody gives a shit to stop. You got people walking front and back of you. You know, I'm not. I'll call the rider, and if they're willing to work with me, you know, hey, you know, if you can get to Royal or Duffing, depending on what side I'm on. If you can get to one of these streets, you know, follow the direction of the one way, or follow, you know, see the one way, yeah, go the opposite direction. If they can get to me, I'll get them. Um, Otherwise, I, I, I'm tired of people jumping on the back of my car, and you know, people trying to open my doors. Like, dude, you don't look like, you don't, you don't look like a Sarah. Like, you know, I'm not your right, but people don't pay attention on Bourbon. Um, Down Decatur, I mean, we all know that usually our best chance to get a ping is by Cafe Du Monde. Um, and you know, something I've noticed is that if I really don't have luck on Decatur, if I little money, what's happening, baby? Uh, uh, if I notice that if I don't have luck by Cafe Du Monde, if I make a left on Domain, I tend to have a little bit more luck on that side of the quarter. Um, it's you know, I mean, you get like the Boys Town bars, and you know, you got in that area you do have, you know, Lafitte's blacksmith shop. Um, you got you got a whole bunch of, you know, and you can even make a right and get out and go towards like Portugal area, Buffa's. You know, there's all those places too. But Buffa's, I think more people walk there than, you know, than take an Uber or Lyft. I don't think it's not really like a renowned place in New Orleans. Um, if the French Quarter gets oversaturated, I just jumped to Bywater, Marigny, St. Roch area. There's a ton of Airbnbs in that area. A ton of Airbnbs. So they're usually, and those bars, more locals go to those bars. So they're short trips, but they're more of them. So I talked about Lakeview already. If I pay attention to my rider apps and I see that there are no cars there, you know, I just keep going back to like buy parlays. You know, so find a hole in the defense wherever cars are not, when they're not paying attention. You know, that's usually where I capitalize. Or, and I said this in a different video, but it kind of came back to bite me. But I said this in the first video, is that where a lot of drivers get discouraged is where I capitalize, because even if it's slow, I'll stay in the car and I'll keep going from, you know, hotspot to hotspot. You're more likely to get a ride if you're moving, but I'm not always. I'm not. Sometimes I'll hang around, and I run both apps. To me, it's the same thing. Okay, somebody needs a ride, and I just want to be busy. I just want to be on the clock. So I have a split screen option on my phone. When a ride comes in with one, immediately I go offline in the other, and I accept the ride and I take it. In Kenner, Kenner, the other day I got a Lyft ride that I actually needed it to make the Lyft bonus. This is like maybe 2 weeks ago, and I could not cancel this ride for acceptance rating purposes. And it was like 16 minutes just to go get the guy. And then I got to him, and he was only going 1.7 miles away. It gets frustrating sometimes, but money's money. And I looked at it as though, okay, 16 minutes to go get somebody. You know, $3.50 fare. It's better than nothing. It is better than nothing. So, I took it, and I did get the Lyft bonus, so it kind of makes up for it a little bit. But Kenner, I mean, you get these, like, with Lyft, I get long trips in Kenner. But if I get a ride that'll take me out towards close enough to the airport, I'll look, depending on what time, I'll look and see how many cars are in the queue. If there's 100 cars in the queue, no way. I'm not staying. I don't think the airport is busy enough to be making really good money with 100. I looked the other day, it said 130 cars. I don't know why. But I'll give you this one. and I when I get one of these rides, it's like, I hate you. And I'm saying it in my head to the rider. I'm like, I hate you. But during the slow season, you got to get what you can. If you're in the queue, but if you're by the airport with Uber and it puts you in the queue, um, what you can do to get out of the queue is set your destination back to the city. Someplace, any place. Use your best judgment. Um, I'll usually do like Marriott downtown, on Canal. Um, but what you can do is set your destination, and I'll take you out of the queue. So you're gonna get these little assholes. They are assholes that take their luggage and go across the street to the IHOP, and they because they don't want to pay the airport fees. Now, if you get a ride from that IHOP to Orleans Parish, usually about 14 to 16 bucks. Better than nothing. But if you're waiting in the queue, it is another strategy that you can use. And even though we hate those people, they are spending money. And when people are spending money, I'm just there to catch it. Just like Saints games, just like concerts, just like people go out and then they're spending money, they're dropping it, you're catching it. So it is better than nothing. So if I get a ride that takes me out towards the airport, I mean, I'm pretty much at the point where I don't need to check the airline schedule unless it's a rainy day or something. I know the active hours for going to the airport and picking up from the airport. So it's important to know that. FlyMSY.com does a great job. FlyMSY.com does a great job of telling you, it organizes what time the flights are coming in, the arrival times. Usually the hour of 11, there's probably, on average, I'd say 8 flights landing in that hour. If I get a ride that's close enough, I'll use my best judgment. But if there's a 130 cars, no, that's okay. I'll let them have it. I mean, some people sleep in that lot, for crying out loud. So, a good time for getting airport trips. Some, a lot of so the drivers that chase the airport rides, they usually start out about 3 o'clock in the morning. Well, I'm usually finishing about 3, so I'll set my destination around 3. Try to get my 2 airport runs. You're not going to get a rematch at that time. Lyft has rematch now, by the way. At that time, one time I did, and I was like, it is so rare that I actually get a rematch at 3:20 in the morning. And I was like, yeah, we had a, rain delay in Boston or something, and this is what time our flight landed. This is what time we came in. I actually got one. But usually, I'll just, usually takes about 45 minutes for me to pick up, set my destination, find a trip, get to the airport and back to the city. So if I get that, if I get that one, what is it, $23 ride or something like that, then I'll go back to the city and try to get another one. So 2 of those in an hour and a half is not bad money. That's actually, we kind of rely on those expensive trips. It's nice when you get them, but I don't wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning. I have been a night owl all my life. Even as an infant, my mother told me that I would sleep all day and I'd be up all night. It's in my genes, I guess. So yeah, Kenner is very spaced out. Sometimes I do have a lot of luck in like Metairie, Kenner area, to where I don't even have to come back to the city. And with Uber, it's great we have the long pickup fees. With Lyft, it sucks we don't. But with Lyft, your acceptance and cancellation, rate, it counts. And it matters. With Uber, I'll tell you right now, it does not. And on very, very busy days, I am more selective with my rides. I will say no thanks if I'm in a 2 times surge zone and it pings me 10 minutes away outside the surge zone, no, I'm in a surge zone. Uber is working on changing that. They haven't yet, but New Orleans is we're kind of like one of the last markets for all this, these major changes that piss people off. We're one of the last markets that they come to. So yeah, Kenner is very spread out. All right, we covered Lakeview, covered the quarter. There's so much about the quarter, you know. Um, if usually if you're close enough, late at night, if you're close enough to Canal and Bourbon, you're almost 100% guaranteed to get a ping right there. If it's late night and somebody's leaving, you're almost guaranteed to get a ping right there at that intersection. It's a slow season, spread out. Like I said, we're not gonna. It's just gonna be popular today. I'll get back to them. This is important. All right, so we cover. Okay, so my airport trips. Usually I start around 3 o'clock in the morning. Once I get my two, I'm done. I try not to get close to Canal because you can get somebody Canal and Bourbon because you can get somebody that's on Bourbon that's going to like Metairie CBD, and then it kind of ruins your destination filter. So being downtown is a little more important. Let's talk about downtown. Downtown's a monster, especially at certain times. Downtown is a monster, and I say this because around 5 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the afternoon, you do not want to get caught downtown. You do not want to get caught downtown. I don't want to get, man. One time I got caught downtown. It took me an hour to get around one city block. One city block took me an hour. So you get a lot of 9 to 5ers in that time, but there's definitely a little too much traffic for me. It's already a busy enough time of the day that I don't necessarily need to get caught downtown. Another thing about downtown is that the buildings, the skyscrapers, a lot of times throw off the pickup location. And if somebody calls for an Uber or Lyft inside their apartment, sometimes it can throw off, depending on their reception in their area, it can throw off the pickup location. So sometimes almost immediately when I pull up to the pickup location, even if it's annoying, I'm not giving them a chance to actually come down and maybe walk out of their hotel or their business, whatever. I call them almost immediately just to make sure I'm in the right spot. One driver on the Facebook group had a really good idea, and he said that he has it in his, and I never did this, but it is a fantastic idea. But he has it in his like instant replies on his text messages to say, share your phone's location. That's a great idea. I've never done it, maybe for laziness purpose. I don't know. It is a great idea though. And if I ever get to that point where, I'll just do it, I don't know. I got a lot going on. So, let's turn it down a little bit. All right, so so we'll stick with downtown. I'll get to my route in a minute. Something else I wanted to say about downtown. So yeah, 7 to 9 in the morning when the 9 to 5ers are going to work, there's not as much traffic as 5 o'clock now, and I think that's largely because people that are visiting are usually up later at night, so the hotels and stuff aren't, people are asleep, but right around 5 o'clock they're awake, they're going to eat, they're going to, they've got their plans in their mind. Um, so, you know, 7 to 9 in the morning is not bad. I don't do it because unless I get a coffee maker in this car, I refuse to drive between 7 and 9 in the morning. And I love my coffee too. I'm not a morning person. I'm a night owl. How can I be a morning person? um, so yeah, that's pretty much like, you know, all about downtown. Let's move on because I did take a lot of notes. I'm giving you guys everything I can, and if no one's watching, but here we go. Here goes. I'm actually doing this to help you out. um, One day last week, I got a ride that took me out to. It took me from, I don't know, maybe the court, maybe downtown, maybe uptown. But it took me to off the Clearview exit. Um, so I went around the hotels and I was kind of hanging out for a few minutes. This is around maybe 11 o'clock, so there's still a chance people are going to the city and getting their night started, or maybe they just decided it was a good idea to go back to Bourbon, for example. Um, um, but I got a ride out to the Clearview exit. So I hung around there for about 15 minutes. I looked on my other phone and I saw that there were cars around, but they were all moving, and I decided to park up. Um, well, I didn't get a ride. But what I did was, instead of taking the interstate, I took Vets, and I was like, okay, let's jump over to Causeway. You know, the Causeway exit. Let's go to Metairie CBD and see if I can get something over there. There's so many bars on Vets. I actually did get a ride on Vets. So that's when I decided that I wasn't gonna take the interstate to jump over to Causeway. But that would have been exactly what my plan was. You know, if I'm not getting a ride in this area, it's too quiet. I always feel like I'm missing out on something. That's why I don't wait at the airport. Um, but I went to go jump over to Causeway, Metairie CBD, and I got a ride down Vets. And you know, it kept me it kept me in the area for a little bit. I finally made my way to Causeway, Metairie CBD, and I had I finally got a ride from Metairie CBD, one of those hotels. Was it? I want to say it was the Sheraton. I want to say possibly. But anyway, I finally got a ride to. It was to Bourbon. It was four dudes that were going to Bourbon, and you know, usually in the city, it's kind of where I want to be. You know I said that, you know, I'll get away from these areas if they're oversaturated, but you got to know where people congregate, and that's the best way to make money. It's the best way to almost guarantee you're going to get a ride. Um, so yeah. Um, so yeah, Metairie, you just got to know where the hot spots are. Clearview, there's hotels there. There's some, even by Causeway, there's some like Uber Eats stuff. I don't do Uber Eats anymore. I refuse to do Uber Eats. Let y'all that only do Uber Eats, let y'all have it. And I will tell you why. I will tell you exactly why I do not do Uber Eats anymore. 4th of July. 4th of July. Stifle my freedom on Independence Day, please. So I got an Uber Eats order to Flambeau, and I'll warn you about this place. I'll go ahead and warn you about it. I got a ride to, or it's a Uber Eats order to Flambeau, right? And I parked in that loading zone right there with my hazards on, okay? I go in, order's not ready. I hit the order not ready button. After a few minutes, you know, I'm going back and looking at my car. I'm like, y'all, is this order, like, come on, like, you know, after about 5 minutes, you know, I walked back in, and, you know, the order still wasn't ready. Well, I'm like, is it gonna be ready? Yes, in a minute. It's gonna be ready in a minute. Okay. I go back to my car to watch my car, and that freaking ticket was on my car. Well, okay, so this puts a damper on my day, right? I'm out here trying to make money. This ride isn't gonna pay for this order. This rider, whoever this Uber Eats, rider, you know what I'm trying to say, is probably not gonna tip. Which, by the way, I always tip. I try to do cash, but I always tip. Um, is probably not gonna tip. And so it wouldn't be enough to pay for the order. So, I go back in after about a minute. I'm like debating the tickets on my car. I'm like, should I stay for this order or cancel it? So after about 8 minutes, I go back in, and this time I'm pretty irate. I go back in. I'm like, y'all gotta call us when the order is ready or about to be ready. Like, uh, and I was pretty heated, but the employees were kind of looking at me like, whoa. And the people in the restaurant were like, this dude is like going boss mode on. I was like, y'all gotta call us when the order is ready or about to be ready. Otherwise, adjust your prep time. But to be waiting 8 minutes, get a ticket. So now, okay, now I'm out of a ride. Probably took me 3 minutes to get there, 8 minutes before I canceled. Well, now I call Uber. I said, hey, I was doing your work. I was on an Uber Eats order. I got a ticket. I was in a loading zone with my hazards on. Is there any compensation or anything? So yes, absolutely, yes, there is. Oh, good. Nice. All right. Happy 4th of July, Let me connect you with the right department. 35 minutes I'm on hold. 35 minutes I'm on hold. Then the music stopped. I'm like, hello? Hello? So after about 2 minutes, the call ended. Well, I called back and I say, hey, I heard there was compensation. Somebody told me. And I said, oh, because our partners are independent contractors, we're not responsible for any parking infractions or moving violations. Keep that in mind. And I said, so not only am I $30 out from a ticket, but you couldn't have told me that 40 minutes ago? And time is money to me. Time is money. So I do not do, I straight told him on the phone, I said, I will not do another Uber Eats order ever again. So just watch yourselves. I made that commitment. You don't have to. But just watch yourselves. When I did Postmates in Chicago, this is a good way to think about it, and maybe I should have done this, but I'll just go ahead and say it. When I did Postmates in Chicago, I had a roll of quarters with me, because you do Postmates anywhere. When you're on, you're on. If a city has Postmates, you're on. So it's hot. So what I would do was I would put a quarter for parking. I ended up downtown Chicago. I put a quarter in for parking, and the way that I looked at it was because I would actually put the ticket in my window and I would go up and deliver the food. People actually did tip, which is not something you get all the time here in New Orleans. But the way I looked at it was that 25 cents, I was making more off the ride than the 25 cents. So the order that I was doing paid for that quarter for parking. That's the way I looked at it. Maybe I should have done that with that Uber Eats order, but I was in a loading zone. I didn't expect it to take 8 minutes until I just said, yeah, you have got to call us when the order's ready. So watch yourself with that Flambeau place. I'll never do another Uber Eats order ever again. They wasted my time. Time is money. Not happy about it. So I'm done with Uber Eats. Let's talk about Uptown. There's plenty of hot spots uptown. And I think that people forget that there is way more to New Orleans than just the French Quarter. Um, so, I mean, if I get a ride that takes me out to like, the residential areas up by like, we'll say Snake and Jake's, but that's the only bar around there. Mainly, it's mostly residential. If I don't get a ride out there, may hang out a minute, but Oak Street, especially at night, when Maple Leaf lets out, you got Giacomo's right there. That's a renowned place. You got all that little strip. Um, I notice a lot of drivers hang out there too. If they are, I'll go down once, I'll come back, and if I don't get a ping, I'll go to like Cooter Brown's, that little area right there. If I turn left down St. Charles, there is a large residential area. During the day, you can probably get a ride. I drive dominantly at night. Well, when I need money, I just get out and do it. I'm pretty much done driving in New Orleans, so I'm just gonna go ahead and give you guys everything. Hopefully, y'all make money. And no, you will. And these same strategies I'm telling you will be here when I get back. We're all not going to be in the same place at the same time. That's so unrealistic. So yeah. Uptown. All right. So I live uptown. So this is my route. Okay? This is my route. This is usually how I get started. All right? Hey, welcome, someone's watching. This is my route. Okay? I'll say I live somewhere in the vicinity of Claiborne and Napoleon. So what I'll do is I'll head kind of south of Napoleon until I get to Ferret. And you can stay in your house and wait for a ping. Some people do that too, and then they jump in the car. But my car literally reads 100 degrees right now. I don't want to get in this car when it's 350 degrees, a freaking oven. So what I'll do is I'll start moving, and I'll head up to like Ferret. You got that little strip there on Ferret. I'll make a right down Ferret, and then I'll go down once. I'll see how populated it is, and then I'll come back down. And if I have my other phone running, I'll check and see how many cars are in that area. Sometimes it gets oversaturated. You got to be ready for that. But the other thing you have to be ready for is to jump to the next hot spot. So I will go down once, and then as soon as that little strip ends, I'll bust to Huey, and I'll come right back down. Usually I'll have a ride, but if I don't, I make that right on Napoleon, and I head towards Superior Seafood. It's huge. You got tons of employees. You got Fat Harry's. You got a large residential area, and this is when I'm like starting my shift. So if this was at night, the residential areas, you're not always going to get a ride. And like I say, I usually have a ride by this time, but on super slow days, I'll continue up Napoleon, and then Magazine is like a great spot. Magazine, I mean, you got Le Bon Ton, Henry's, Buddha Bellies, Miss May's. You've got Bulldog, Balcony Bar, Rum House. I mean, you got all that strip right there. You got that whole strip right there. So yeah, Magazine's a great spot. Usually it's going to take me, eventually it'll take me away from Magazine. But you can continue all up Magazine all the way to like down the Hatch. You have, Half Moon. You've got the Saint, and then if I don't get a ride. And I'm usually getting rides. This is just my route, the ways that I will take, because I know that people congregate in these areas. So I'll head up. If I don't get a ride by the time I get to Felicity, jump over to St. Charles. St. Charles, you've got those hotels right there. You got a ton of hotels. You've got a pub. Evangeline closed down, but you got Houston's, who is a big restaurant, and there's a lot of employees too. Um, so you got St. Charles. You've got uh, a large residential area. The Muses is it the Muses? Yeah, the Muses. A ton of people live there, um, and I've noticed some the majority use Uber and Lyft because that's kind of a place I get pinged to a lot. Um, excuse me. Yeah, bear with me, guys. I had my going away party last night. All right. So we covered airport stuff. Um, all right. Late night. Late night. How fun it is to drive late at night. I have so much to get back to, but I know I promised this for you guys. Um, all right. Late night. Have as many bags as you possibly can. I've had 3 incidences in the last 2 months where somebody has puked. $150 sounds nice, and I did talk with another driver about this. Said, yeah, puke in my car. I want the $150. I don't have to do anything. I'll just clean it up, put a little, you know, and $100 and my shift, $150 and my shift is done. This is a $20,000 car. I don't want to know what is in your stomach. And if you give it back, it's not going to be on my seats. It's not going to be in my car. Bags. I've got mints. I've got a battery pack. I've got chargers. I've got this car is all set up for rideshare. It's 100% set up. I bought it to drive. There's an aux cord. I've got a dash camera, business cards. This car is 100% set up for the purpose of rideshare. And napkins. Somebody sneezes. Dude, I have people that respect so much. When somebody sneezes, I say, "Do you need a napkin?" You know, people respect that so much. It's just the little things. Try to be accommodating. That's how you make some money. Tips, lots and lots of tips. But at night, be ready. You're gonna get some people. See, New Orleans is a party city. It is not a vacation spot. It is not a vacation spot. It's 24 hours a day. It's all day, every day. If you want a bourbon on the rocks at 7 o'clock in the morning, there is always a bartender willing to serve you. Driving late at night, you do get more demand, but I'll let you know, once every 2 weeks, once every 3 weeks, I get one of these rides. I'm like, is this really happening right now? Is this really happening right now? So I press that button and I record it, and if makes for good content on YouTube, I will put it on YouTube. But something's wrong with my app. I have 2 videos that I will upload eventually. When I get to it, there's a lot going on. No, JC, it does not. It's just, I'm doing this regardless. I don't, you know what? I guess I'm not really sure. This is like my first time. I've done live streams before, but it says 1 like, 0 people watching. So I don't know. You might have to check your settings. You might have to check your settings, brother. or sister. um, um, but yeah, I don't know. There could be people watching, and I'm doing this regardless. I'm gonna give it all to you guys. I'm doing this because my strategies will be here. I'm just giving you guys the best strategies. Okay. If you want to make money doing this, I'm giving the best ways, the overpopulated areas, where people aren't where drivers aren't saturating all the time. Um, I'm giving it to you. From my experience, I've been doing this about a year and a half. I freaking love it. I love it. If I don't shave today, nobody's mad at me. Nobody's telling me to take my piercings out. What I wear when I wake up for the day is what I wear to work. Um, it's a 24-hour a day gig. You can make some good money doing it. Even if I tell you guys all my secrets, which somebody said earlier, don't do that. Everyone will encroach on your money. If I tell everyone this strategy, there's a new strategy that pops up. Okay? This is an ever-changing industry. And I will always... I'm a hustler. I like money. Money gets you things and it takes you places. So I'm always going to make my money. But New Orleans it's not a very big city, and this time of year, not only is it slow, but it gets worse because you have teachers that are out of school, and you have, students maybe off for the summer and have a car that qualifies, or restaurant workers that, know it's slow at work, and we're gonna have more drivers coming on. It sucks because they don't realize that right now this is the slow season. If you do this full time, it does hurt us. Now, I know that a lot of you are not gonna like. It's probably gonna be a good divide if you're gonna like what I'm about to say. Yes, we're gonna have new drivers coming on. You have codes, referral codes, for a reason, okay? If you get somebody to sign up, it's an extra source of income. I don't know what it's at with Uber right now. It's either at 100 or 150 or something like that. With Lyft, it's $660. Postmates, it's $200. You can use that to your advantage. Remember that, and then you can help somebody else, and maybe a new driver, to understand. I mean, you have these codes for a reason. I put them in my description. With Lyft, I can see when people use my code. I've never had anybody actually complete the 125 rides for the bonus, whatever. One was when it was like $475, and then another one it was like $575. But right now it's $660 for doing 125 rides in 30 days with Lyft. I mean, that is possible. Uber's definitely busier in this city. Lyft, I guess it could depend on just how many people we have in town. And it might take some serious time to, complete the 125 trips. But if you get somebody to sign up and use your codes, it is another source of income. It is something else you can do. I mean, even if it's like one or two more drivers, people are going to do it regardless. Teachers, restaurant workers that want extra money, people are going to do it regardless. So and I always tell people, I say, use somebody's code. Use a code. If you don't use a code to sign up, if you don't share your codes, you're not only are you missing out on $100 or $660 or $200 from Postmates. Not only are you missing out, but you're only making Uber richer. You're only making Lyft and Postmates and Grubhub and all that. You're only making them richer. So always tell people, use the codes. You have referral codes. Don't be a hater. People are going to pick this gig up regardless. So That was another thing that I wanted to say. I mean, you had we have these codes for a reason. Um, it is the slow season. It sucks. People are coming on regardless. Network. People are our greatest resource. Um, so, um, with that said, it is a good idea to be on as many of these apps as possible. I do Uber, Lyft, and Postmates. Postmates is really underdeveloped in this city, but it is another app that you can use. It does pay. I think the mileage is better than Uber. I want to say it's like 82 cents a mile or something like that. Um, plus there's some wait time. Um, so yeah, it's good to be on as many of these apps as possible. As many of them as possible. Um, and I was talking with somebody, and they had a falling out at their job. I don't want to get into it, but all right, say details. But I was like, if you're on these apps, you're never without a source of income. Get on as many of them as you can, um, and always use somebody's codes, because then you're only making the company richer. You know, have these companies pay us out. We're the ones out here doing the work. So that's another good thing too. I just signed up for Via because they have Via in Chicago. I need to be on as many of these as possible because it takes 3 weeks in between states to pass a background check, even if you've driven in that state before. So that's kind of a random kind of call, but I will definitely get back to them for sure. Um, so, uh, so yeah. I mean, be on as many of these apps as possible. You know, it's sometimes I have a split screen option on my phone, so I don't have Maestro, or I guess another one. One of my commenters a while back said about I think it's called Maximo. I have it in my notes here somewhere. But those are apps that they manage, uh, these apps for you. At least Uber, Lyft, and I know that. Man, busy guy today. Lots going on. I woke up late, and last night was my party, so I have a lot to do today. Get ready for the move, but I did promise you guys this one, and it will take a minute. So I will get back to everyone. I promise. I don't even know if they might even be watching. I don't know. But yeah. So let's see if I got anything else here. Always be comfortable in the car. Whatever shoes you would wear to go running, wear those. Don't wear sandals. Your foot can get caught. That's rookie stuff. Um, without the students and sports going, and the Pelicans and the Saints not playing, that's like 40% of our income right there. So you gotta be smart about where you are. I mean, the best places where people congregate in the city, in Orleans Parish, I would say, is Oak Street, Magazine, St. Charles, um, at least up till Napoleon, and then I may bust to Ewing, go back uh, towards the. It's not the interstate, but it's like a freeway. It's not the interstate. The interstate is official, but the 90 business. Uh, I'll head back that direction. Of course, Bourbon. Everybody knows Bourbon. That is no secret. Frenchman is great. Um, and then, Decatur and the Bywater area, up till Bacchanal. Those are some of the best. I'm sorry, Charters. I'm sorry. Um, Decatur ends right there. So yeah. I think we're getting towards the end. Frenchman is a great spot. I know that so many people know that. Um, Decatur, Dad. Got you, Dad. I got you, Dad. I'll get back to you. Love you. Um, in this city, we have Grubhub, Waiter, Postmates, and Uber Eats is food delivery. It's not bad to be on those. I told you my beef with Uber Eats. That one, I'm done forever. I'm done. They burnt that bridge. I will never do another Uber Eats order ever again. Okay. Somebody posted on one of the Facebook groups that. Goodness. Dad, I'm on a live stream. Is this an emergency? All right. Sorry guys. Sorry about that. If he calls me on one phone, then he calls me on the other phone, it's usually important. So I'm gonna kind of wrap this up here. Navigation apps. I use Waze. A lot of times, what is going on? Something's going on, guys. Something's got to be happening for me to for him to really be trying to reach me like this. So I'm gonna wrap this up. I wanted to give you guys everything I possibly could. Um, um, I'm to the point where last thing, and then I'm gonna get back to my dad. But something's got to be going on for him to be reaching me like this. Last thing, navigation. I'm to the point where if somebody tells me where they're going. If somebody tells me where they're going, I could pretty much get there. I don't necessarily need GPS. When I first started doing this, I thought, oh, 500 block of canal, that's cab stuff. I don't need to learn all that. It really does help. It really does help. Knowing which side of the street has the odds and the evens all around the city, it's usually it's pretty consistent. Knowing which side has the odd numbers, which side has the even numbers, and it really does help. I'm not saying study that stuff, but if someone just tells me where they're going, I can pretty much get there without GPS. If I do need GPS, I use Waze because it tells me, where, these potholes and speed traps and road closures and stuff. And as a driver, I need to know what's ahead. So I use Waze. Google Navigation's great too. As you get closer, it shows you a picture of what the street view looks like. So yeah, when you're definitely going to start making more money when you learn how to navigate the city better. It's the truth, and I'm in for it in Chicago because Chicago is huge. Population in New Orleans is, without the tourists, 400,000. Population in Chicago is 2.7 million. I am in for it. This is going to be a whole different beast. So yeah, New Orleans is small. It's tiny. It's not a very big city. So yeah, I guess I'll wrap it up with that. Something's got to be going on with the fam, so I'm gonna get back to this. I'm gonna go ahead and end this live stream. But if it helps you guys in any way, I really hope subscribe to the channel. I'm always gonna be helpful. I'm always doing, and you know what? I do have 2 videos that I have to edit. Don't act a fool in my car, and you will not end up on the World Wide Web. It's my rule. My First Amendment constitutional right of the United States, freedom of press. You're on my private property. We're in public. I absolutely can't record you. The law works the same as if I like a convenience store that has security cameras. It's my property. So I'll wrap this up. Like, share, comment. If you guys have any other, I'm just giving you guys, that's what I do, and I've been doing this. It works for me. So good luck out there. The slow season. Let's just get through it, and then my goal is to be back October. We'll see, depending on family health and stuff. So subscribe to the channel if you're new. I'll keep you updated on adventures in Chicago too. And then when I get back to New Orleans, it's on. Oh man, I love this city. All right, guys, take care. Be safe out there.